Hello friends, today was the UPSC preliminary examination and surprisingly the history part that they asked in that paper was very easy and moderate. Most of the questions that they asked from basic factual and conceptual detail, and that made history as the meatiest part of the paper basically. Rather than talking much, I would like to prove all this by solving the questions asked this year. See the questions. Now I am solving here set D of UPSC preliminary examination 2025. See this, the question says that sedition has become my religion was the famous statement given by Gandhiji at the time of. The answer is very simple. The answer is that it was at the time of Dandi March when he had to break the salt law, he gave this famous statement. And you should know that civil disobedience movement was all about violating the laws voluntarily, which would be considered sedition by the British government. Then another question says that the famous female figurine known as dancing girl found at Mohenjo-daro is made up of. Probably this question was the easiest question for the UPSC paper asked this year. We all know about the bronze dancing girl of Mohenjo-daro, so answer here would be very simple. It's bronze. Additional information is that this bronze dancing girl is in Tribhanga, style. So what is Tribhanga style? Tribhanga, body thrice broken, which is a particularly classical dance like style. That is why this statue is called in dancing style and is called the bronze dancing girl. Answer here would be bronze. The next question says that who provided legal defense to the people arrested in the aftermath of Chauri Chaura incident. Ab yaad rakhiye Chauri Chaura incident was there in February 1922 and because of which Gandhiji withdrew the non-cooperation movement. In this Chauri Chaura incident, in a mob violence, the people killed the policemen. But when this case was there, Madan Mohan Malviya and Krishna Kant were those who defended the people in this Chauri Chaura incident case. Next question says that subsequent to which one of the following events Gandhiji, who consistently opposed untouchability and appealed for its eradication from all the sphere, decided to include the upliftment of Harijans in his political and social program. अब एक सिंपल सी बात याद रखिए, the Pune Pact was in 1932. It was there between Gandhiji and B.R. Ambedkar. In this Pune Pact, B.R. Ambedkar decided to give up the demand of separate electorate for the depressed classes. At the same time, Gandhiji agreed that the seats reserved for the depressed classes would be more than doubled. So from this time onward, Gandhiji obstructed the separate electorate for the depressed classes, but from this time onward, Gandhiji also directed all his energy towards upliftment of the depressed classes. So answer here would be A, the Pune Pact of 1932. Next question says that consider the following fruits. How many of the above were introduced in India by the Portuguese in the 16th and 17th century? You must know that when the Portuguese came to India, they introduced so many new crops brought from the New World or America brought into India. Among these crops introduced and the fruits introduced, some among the most important one were papaya, pineapple and guava. So 1, 2 and 3, all of them they are correct and the answer here would be C, all the 3. The next question says that who among the following was the founder of self-respect movement? Ab yaad rakhiye, from South India, one of the greatest social reformers who fought for social equality and fought against caste discrimination and untouchability was great Periyar E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar, who was the founder of self-respect movement. Additional information is that he also started a journal. The journal was called Kudiyarasu. So answer here would be A. The next question says that consider, this is 71st question of set D. Now consider the following statement about Raja Ram Mohan Roy. First says that he possessed great love and respect for the traditional philosophical systems of the East. It's absolutely correct. Raja Ram Mohan Roy is considered a reformist who wanted to improve the society with the help of Vedic ideas. So, first is correct. But he was a reformist, not a revivalist. He wanted to see the Vedic ideas in light of modern science and rationalism. So, the second statement that he desired his countrymen to accept the rational and scientific approach is also correct. So, both the statements they are correct, and answer here would be both first and the second statements they are correct. The next question says that consider following subjects with regard to non-cooperation program. Non-cooperation program, NCM, started by Gandhiji. What was the program included into it? First is correct, that it was based on boycott and non-cooperation to the British government and boycott of the law courts and the foreign clothes. First is correct. Second, strict non-violence. All the Gandhian movements were always based on the idea of strict violence. So, second is also correct. Third says that retention of titles. It's wrong. The non-cooperation demanded that the people should surrender the titles given by the British government. Fourth says that establishment of panchayats for settling disputes. This is correct. An alternative should be given to the people if they were not going for the law courts established by the British. So, fourth one is correct. So, first, second and fourth they are correct. So, how many of the above were part of non-cooperation program? Answer is simple. It would be C, only 3. Then if you talk about the next question, it says that the irrigation device called Aragatta was, again it's very surprising that this year UPSC has asked so many questions based on the previous year questions as well. UPSC has already asked a question on Aragatta. It was basically a water wheel in early medieval and medieval times. Ara plus Ghatta. So, what is Ghatta? Ghatta basically would mean pots. And what is Ara? They were attached to the spokes. So, basically a water wheel in which the wheel was attached with the earthen pots at the spokes. It was called Araghatta. So, B would be the answer. The next question says that who among the following rulers in ancient India had assumed the title of Mattavilas and Vichitra Chitta? Answer is simple. It was Mahendra Varman. Mahendra Varman in fact had also wrote a book that was called Mattavilasa Prahasan. So, answer here would be A. The next question says that Fahian, the Chinese pilgrim, traveled India during the reign of. अब याद रखिए, Fahian visited India during the reign of the Gupta ruler Chandragupta II. Again, it is very interesting that Chandragupta II was supporter of Hindu ideology and Fahian was a Buddhist person in ideology. That is why basically Fahian has ignored many details of the ruler Chandragupta II, but at the same time we have to agree that he has given a lot of detail about Patliputra and other areas in times of Chandragupta II. Answer here would be B. Next question says that who among the following had led a successful military campaign against the kingdom of Srivijaya? अब याद रखिए, the Srivijaya kingdom was in Southeast Asia, covering the part of Malaya, Sumatra, Java and other areas. And a naval expedition was taken against them in times of Imperial Cholas. The Imperial Cholas, they had reached the glorious stage by the time of Rajendra Chola. He took the naval expedition towards Srivijaya kingdom. Answer here would be C. Again, all these questions are very easy questions. Basically, NCERT and all such basic books would give you such details. Then, the next question says that with reference to ancient India, consider the following pairs. Again, you have to go for a matchmaking here. So, don't get worried about matchmaking question that they would be very difficult. Just use the logic. Think about a smaka. What is the importance of Asmaka? It was the southernmost Mahajanpad and it was on the banks of Godavari river. So first is correct matchmaking. Kamboj was the Mahajanpad in extreme northwest and basically it is not attached with any other river. Basically, Kamboj was a Mahajanpad that was not particularly on the banks of any major river. Second is wrong. Avanti was mainly the part of Malwa area. So again, making a match with Mahanadi would be wrong. Kosal Janpad certainly was connected with Saryu river. How we can say that? Because Kosal Janpad had two capitals. One was Shravasti, one was Ayodhya. Ayodhya was certainly on the banks of Saryu river. So two pairs are correct. Answer here would be only two pairs. Then the next question says that the first Gandharva Mahavidyalaya. What do you mean by Gandharva? Music. The Mahavidyalaya was connected with music. अब याद रखिए, in pre-independence time, one of the greatest personalities who promoted music and its studies in India was Vishnu Digambar Paluskar, and he established the college that was Gandharva Mahavidyalaya in 1901, initially in Lahore. So answer here would be D, Lahore. Then the question says that Ashokan inscriptions suggested that Pradeshika, Rajjuka and Yukta were important officers at the, ab simple si baat yaad rakhiye, Ashokan inscriptions had mentioned many of the officers. Most of these officers, they were there at the district level administration. Interestingly, Rajjuka was called Rajjuka because he would hold a rope for measurement, and in Sanskrit the rope would be called Rajju. That is why he was called Rajjuka. So they were the officers who were helping in district administration. For example, Rajjuka was helping in measurement of the land that would help in putting the taxes and demand on the farmers. So answer here would be B. Then one last question. Consider the following statements in respect to non-cooperation movement. This year, surprisingly, UPSC has asked so many questions from Gandhian movement, and it's natural as well because the biggest part of modern history is national movement, and the biggest part of national movement is Gandhian movement. So the question says that the Congress declared the attainment of Swaraj by all the legitimate and peaceful means be its objective. This is true. Gandhiji had said that if the people would support Congress, Congress would achieve Swaraj for people. Second, it was to be implemented in stages with civil disobedience and non-payment of taxes for the next stage. Only if Swaraj did not come within a year and the government resorted to suppression. This is also correct. In fact, Gandhiji had promised that if Swaraj would not be achieved and the government would try to obstruct it, then gradually Congress would move towards civil disobedience from non-cooperation. And he was very much worried. In fact, interestingly, he was very much worried that the people were yet not trained into civil disobedience like thing. And before he could decide anything, there was Chauri Chaura like incident. So using this as a context, he withdrew the non-cooperation movement rather than going for the extreme form of civil disobedience that time. So first and second, both of them, they are correct, and C would be the answer. Now this was the pattern. This was the pattern of, these were the questions and these were the pattern of UPSC history part asked in this preliminary examination. Most of the questions were very basic, very easy, and if a candidate has got a very firm knowledge, very good knowledge about NCERT, and certainly if the candidate has already gone for the previous year questions very carefully, it was easy to attempt the paper. Most of the questions were covered in the class studies. So if you are very regular in the classes, very good with the class note, the paper was very easy.